and you've enjoyed the last few days of it. So the previous week, or 2 weeks ago rather, we had a guest in Miriam Aldaf who was talking about law and discussing opportunities of getting into law and how you can prosper in that career. And today we're going to be focusing on what graduate recruiters want and what they would like to see in somebody who's actually come out of university and completed their degree, and what skills and tips they'd like them to have as well. All right, so previously we've looked at how somebody applying for a job needs to make sure that they're articulate and they have a good self-esteem. So, Assalamu alaikum, Zainab.
Walaikum salam. Yeah, we talked about being articulate and career 2020, the top tips, and we went through a range of tips for individuals that employers are looking for, and then I think we'll just kind of focus more deeply into that today.
Yeah.
I mean, you're saying, did we have good Eid? Yes, we did.
Yeah.
And I think we also discussed lamb recipes with Mariam
when
she was here.
Yeah.
And I hope everybody tried her lamb recipe that she mentioned.
It was wonderful, wasn't it? With the
Yeah,
okra. Did you try it, Zainab?
No, I didn't, to be honest. I didn't try it, but I think what it was is something to do with like putting it in the oven and you know the masala and everything and onions. I think she put it at the end, which we don't normally do. So that's more like a barbecue, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. It's more of a different way of cooking the dish,
so,
actually.
Yeah, and today, what's our superfood today then?
Superfood today is broccoli. So the mighty and the powerful broccoli
Yeah.
that a lot of people out there love, especially children. And so we're going to be focusing on that and discussing recipes about it and health benefits of it. So when we were talking about being more articulate, we were talking about one, representing themselves in a way where they are able to understand what they're saying themselves as well. So we spoke about how you have to listen to yourself speaking, monitor your speed so you don't speak too fast in order to become more articulate.
I think if it's an interview, you tend to become more nervous anyway, don't you? Because you're trying to represent yourself in a way that will encourage recruiters to employ you for a particular position, or you've gone on a particular course and you want to enroll on that.
That's right.
And I think the nerves get the better of you sometimes, so you might be speaking really fast, but to you it might seem that what you're saying, it doesn't make as much sense, but the person who's listening is totally different, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
And they'll be able to understand you better, I suppose.
That's right, yeah. So sometimes when you are like saying the nerves get the best of you, you do end up starting to say, this is what being more articulate is about. So it's saying that you should eliminate these filter words. So when you do listen back to yourselves, it's important to make sure that you try and cope with your nerves and understand how you can try and eliminate those filter words so that you come across more eloquent.
Yeah, and not just that. I'm glad you said that, because this is a really good point. The other thing is our body language is quite important when we're trying to be articulate, because sometimes with me, I kind of wave my hands around.
All right, yeah. We were just discussing this earlier, weren't we?
Yeah, so I do that a lot, and I think some people do that without thinking, and instead of listening to what the person's got to say, you're kind of looking at the body movement more, you're concentrating on that. So you have to be quite careful how your body is like, you don't want to be seen as rigid and nervous and everything, but you want to be quite relaxed as well.
Yeah, you do.
And if you're waving your hands around like I do, I think what helps is kind of holding your hands together maybe.
Yeah, perhaps.
Rather than folding your arms, because that could be seen as like a defensive move or something.
That's right, yeah. So relaxing your arms. But also for certain careers, moving your hands is important as well.
Yeah.
So for example, for teachers, for myself, in the classroom, I found that when I did move my hands around more and I move around the class and I walk a bit more as well, the children are more engaged with me. Whereas if I'm just standing there talking in a monotonous tone, they'd switch off.
Yeah. And you gotta remember your tone as well, like you've said, because you want to keep the like you said, the children engaged. You want to keep the audience engaged. You don't want them to be switching off and like kind of lose the message you're trying to put forward.
That's
or
right.
the point you're trying to make to come across.
Yeah, excellent points there. And another point that we looked over when we were talking about becoming more articulate was to study other speakers. So it's important to watch a host on a certain radio show, for example, or a presenter, and see how they come across more articulate as well. Because obviously when people come across more articulate, they have trained themselves in that. They've had training themselves. They may have had some elocution classes as well, or they may have watched themselves back as well and realised where they were making mistakes. And another point was for being more articulate was speaking with confidence.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think, how would we do that though? I mean, I think you can speak with confidence if you got the experience, you know what the topic is about, and you know a lot about it. So, the confidence will come across naturally. So how do you be confident about something you know not so much about?
So basically, if you're going to apply for a certain job, you'd make sure you do your research in that field. So you know you have got a sound backing to prove something that you've said. So when you've got the research done and you've got all the points in, you'll be able to speak confidently and back up what you've said as well.
Okay.
So that'd benefit somebody who's going for an interview. And also, you're talking about postures and sitting and the way you come across with your arms as well.
Yeah.
So that's important as well. And another point that we talked about when it was being articulate was thinking before you spoke as well. That was important.
Yes, definitely. Because if you don't know what the subject you're talking about, or what you're trying to say, if you're trying to just kind of wing it a little bit, if that's a term I could use, it'll come across.
It will.
Yeah.
The interviewers almost always know straight away when somebody is trying to, pretend that they know what they're talking about.
Okay, just talking about interviews, I've actually been on an interview panel for my workplace, and prior to this, when I was working in a HR company, I was doing the HR side of things. So I was helping interview individuals, and what I found was you already have a list of questions anyway. You have a list of criteria. You know what you want from an individual, and you kind of try and match that to what they're saying. And if they are kind of going off the subject and they're not explaining themselves very well, or they're not able to come across what you want on your job spec or what you want on your experience, you're gonna kind of, because there's so many people who apply anyway, you're going to kind of filter them out a little bit.
That's right, yeah.
So it's
straight
really
away.
important that what you're saying is matching to the job spec, to the experience. You're able, sometimes you've got the experience, you've got all this, but when you're being interviewed, because you're so nervous, you don't sell yourself as well. So it's really important to kind of practice before you do that.
And it's always important to come across speaking coherently as well. So it's not just about throwing in random sentences.
Yeah,
that
it
don't
should
link
make
with
sense.
one another. Exactly, yeah. But like you said, when people go to interviews, the nerves get the best of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So,
I have interviewed individuals, and I know them on a personal level as well. And I'm thinking, no, you don't want to say that. You want to say something else.
Yeah.
But you can't do that as an interviewer, because you got to let them, present themselves.
Yeah.
And after the interview, they've said, oh, I wish I've said this, and I wish I've said that, and I could do this, and I could do that, but they didn't relate it to what you were asking.
That's it. So, Dan, at any point in your life when you've been interviewed, do you feel you've ever done that yourself?
I think I have. I mean, there's a lot of interviews I've been for, and most of the time the reason I never got the job is because I was not really interested in it. So I didn't do my research as well as I should have, and maybe I didn't come across for what they were looking for at that time, and I never got the job. So I think when you're actually wanting something and you're putting in your level best, and even if you're coming across a little nervous, but you're able to convince the interviewer that you are the right person for the job, you will get it.
That's it, definitely. So that's what we always say, don't we, on this show as well? Always pursue a career in something you are interested in.
Yeah, I think sometimes if you're just going to go for a job because of the money is great, and you're not really interested in that job, and you don't know much about it, it'll come across in the interview.
Definitely will.
I think that's what I've learned over my lifetime.
Well, it's happened to me as well. So I've taught blood a number of times in lessons, and they sprung a question on me: how would you teach blood? But because the nerves got the better of me, this is when I first qualified as a teacher, and I thought, what does it mean? When I totally knew how to teach blood, you teach about the different blood groups and about the platelets and the white blood cells, etc. And I stood there and I thought, what are they talking about?
Yeah.
And then I had to try and wing it, but they obviously gathered that I was, and I thought, oh goodness, Fawzia. But I knew it all. But because I got so nervous, the nerves got the better of me, and it totally threw that interview out.
Yeah. But the thing is, just because you've had like a bad interview doesn't mean is the be all and the end all.
Yeah.
Because that's your learning
Learning
that.
curve, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
learning. Because, sometimes we don't get things right the first time.
No.
And that doesn't mean we give up on it. We could keep trying.
Yeah.
And we could just kind of say, well, you know what, in this interview, I did this. I'm going to try not to do that for the next one. Okay, in this interview, I didn't prepare well, or I didn't have enough information.
Yeah. So what's always a good tip as well, then, of mentioning what you've just said as well there, is that you always phone or when they ring you back to let you know about whether you've got the position or not, always ask, if you have not got the position, what did you do wrong on? How could you have
Exactly.
answered the questions differently? So then themselves can give you some tips about how to prepare better for your next interview.
Yeah, exactly.
And never give up.
Yeah.
Yeah, always
We
persevere.
always we're the whole radio show is about not giving up, isn't
Yeah,
it?
perseverance. Yeah, that's it.
That's our main motto of the
That's
show,
it.
I think.
It is definitely. Okay, so another aspect that we looked at was self-esteem. Right, so self-esteem is about being positive about ourselves and how that was very important for us. What do you think about that, Zainab?
Again, I think we kind of touch upon that almost every week, and I think the main motto for the show, Careers, Cuisine and Culture, is like your self-esteem is really important, as well as being articulate and all the other things you've mentioned. Self-esteem is something that we need to kind of work on as individuals, and it's not always great. It's not always, at the level we want it to be. Sometimes self-confidence is fantastic, other times is not, and we need to kind of know ourselves a bit better, so we know when we're having lower self-esteem,
Yeah,
and we
definitely.
know when it's the right self-esteem for the job
Yeah.
or anything you're pursuing. And just because you're feeling low one day doesn't mean you're going to feel like that the next day, and doesn't mean you can't get any training or help
Exactly.
to
And
improve it.
I think also, though, it makes a big difference when you've had a loss in the family, for example, or you've had somebody who's fallen ill.
Yeah.
So that does knock your self-esteem a bit at the time.
Yeah,
I
a
feel.
lot of things. I mean, you have like major life-changing, situations of things that have happened to you, and you're not gonna always be, your perky self. But you can try and improve it, and then there's always ways to be around people who are positive. Being around positive people, going out, exercising, or just go for walks and things like that can improve, your confidence and self-esteem as well.
Totally.
Yeah.
And also remembering how you felt when an experience did occur and how
Yeah.
you can overcome that.
Not just that,
Yeah.
And some people dress up and feel confident, or if there's an issue with weight or something, or if they're like they want to be a particular weight and they've achieved that goal, they'll improve their self-esteem. So there's a lot of things that are, involved in improving your self-esteem, and for everyone is different. It might be different for you, it might be different for me. So different things affect our self-esteem, and different things perk it up. But just keep going.
Yeah, exactly. And looking back at our faith, though, as well, doing zikr or
zikr
praying
helps.
namaz and making dua
Yes.
to Allah as well,
Exactly. So when you're feeling down and when you pray, I think for me, when I'm feeling quite low, I read Nawafil,
Yeah,
and that helps me. That
Definitely.
really, really helps. It's like almost like a confidence or motivation boost. And alhamdulillah, we rely on Allah for everything.
That's
so when
it.
we're stressed out, why shouldn't we go to Him?
Yeah,
You know?
definitely. Allah even says that as well.
Yeah.
In times of need and in times of happiness
And,
at all
and,
times.
and He gives us problems, and He gives us like situations so that we turn to Him. And then we have to just kind of remember that.
That's it, totally. So the self-esteem is very important, and always recognise how you can make yourself feel better, and how you can stop these negative thoughts coming into your heads. Or if it's somebody who's giving you negative feedback about yourself and you're not liking that, then just avoid being around that person.
Yeah, removing yourself from that situation,
That's it.
definitely, I would
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
Or even being in a job or a situation where you feel that, is impacting your mental health, impacting your self-esteem, confidence. You need to kind of remove yourself from that. I know it's hard to do so sometimes, but, do your level best, because you don't want to be around individuals who,
Okay.
who kind of hinder that.
Yeah, definitely. So the points to look at was recognise what you're good at, build positive relationships, be kind to yourself, and learn to be assertive as well. So that's how self-esteem helps. And also start saying no to people as well. And
Yes.
the main point that we picked up on before was pick up a challenge as well. So challenge yourself, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's quite interesting, because you could kind of pick up a sport you like. I don't know, people run marathons. They get involved in charity work. They get involved in the local community. So, I mean, helping others helps yourself.
That's it, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
And I think with this COVID 19, I think what's happened is within the mosques, within the local community, people have gone out of the way to help others around them. In certain situations, for people, they've helped them with shopping, they've helped them do things. And I think by helping others, it kind of
Make
boosts,
yourself feel better as well.
not just that, it boosts your happiness as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
And it all comes back to using all these skills to find, even in a workplace, or, you know, pursuing a career. Because if you're happy within yourself and your confidence is good and you've got the right motivation, that's going to reflect in the work you do as well. So if you're unhappy and you're in a place you don't want to be, you're not going to give it your best, really.
No, that's it, totally. So always, look at that as well, what your interests are as well. Right, okay, so we're coming up to an Azan break now. So inshallah, after the Azan break, we'll be back with you. Assalamu alaikum. You're listening back to Ramadan Radio Wolverhampton with Fawzia Asif and Zainabi. And prior to the Azan, we were just talking about how being articulate was very important for when you go for interviews, and how your self-esteem also made an impact about how you came across to the interviewers and whether they'd want to employ you or not. And we were also looking at our mighty food this week, which is the healthy and the mighty broccoli. Okay, so Zainab.
Hello.
Assalamualaikum.
Assalam. Okay, I think before the break we done quite a lot of talking about what recruiters want.
Yeah.
And now a mighty food for this week is broccoli. I mean, online I was looking at different health benefits, and there are numerous health benefits of eating broccoli. I think the main one is it helps you. Well, it doesn't eliminate, but like it reduces the risk of cancer. So, which is a big thing, I think. With
That is.
Yeah, it's a green vegetable, which
Broccoli is a very good food for lowering cancer rates as well.
Yeah, and cholesterol. It's really good for the cholesterol. It reduces cholesterol. It's got a lot of antioxidants. And I think I don't think we could praise it enough, really, because I mean one of the reasons it's called a superfood is because of the nutrition value, and it enables to maintain your weight and helps to lose weight as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so a lot of people do use it as part of their diet to reduce weight, and I know of a particular individual I was working with many years ago who would have broccoli and potato soup. They would make it into a soup for lunch, and they had this over a course of a month, and then they would have like a meal in the evening, and it helped to aid their weight loss.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah, because it is a good, it's a healthy vegetable which gives you lots of vitamins and minerals.
Yeah.
So you're not missing out on those key components that your diet requires, and you're also losing weight though because it hasn't got the extra fat content with it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And not just that, what broccoli does is it's versatile. You could put in everything almost. You can make broccoli and chicken. You can make a chicken. You know, though you make chicken bollock.
Oh yes. Yeah.
You kind of make broccoli and chicken with that, and that's quite nice in itself. You can steam it, and I think that's the way we cook it. But there's many ways people cook it.
There are. So there's also a benefit of broccoli is a bioactive compound. It says in there. This is an active part of the broccoli that helps reduce inflammation in your body's tissues.
Okay.
So people who suffer from arthritis, it could be beneficial for them as well then. And
so to stop you there, Fawzia, what I read as well was that it helps you, you know, when you got allergies and so on, it kind of helps to reduce them, and I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, because when you have an allergy or an allergic reaction rather, what happens to your body is that it inflames, doesn't it? And you start to get an anaphylactic shock as well.
Yeah.
So these biotoxins or the bioactive compounds in the broccoli, they help to reduce the inflammation.
Okay.
So that will help from your body from getting into an anaphylactic shock as well.
Yeah, which is really good.
Yeah, so it's got a lot of benefits, and it's high in antioxidants, and it's also high fibre as well. And it says it may aid in blood sugar control. So for all those Asian diabetics out there, which there must be a large number, no doubt.
Not just Asian, Asian, but I mean everybody really can benefit from it.
Definitely,
and especially with that diet, with like all the oils and all those things that are not so healthy. Having broccoli on a regular basis can help to have a balanced diet, really.
Yeah, definitely. And it can support heart health in a variety of ways, it says. So the bad LDL cholesterol levels that are high in our bodies from other normal fats that we eat are phased out with the broccoli. And also the antioxidants in the broccoli may reduce your overall risk of heart attack as well. So basically a higher intake of fibre-rich foods like broccoli are associated with the reduced risk of heart disease as well.
Okay, that's really interesting, and I hope our listeners take this on board and kind of implement that and put a bit more broccoli in their diet.
That's right.
Not just that, I think broccoli is lovely to cook, and it has a nice taste to it.
It does.
I think you have to have like a quiet taste for broccoli compared to other vegetables, and especially with kids, they're not particularly keen on it. And I think what I've done with my kids is kind of hidden it in food when they were younger, and now they just love it. And
so for the listeners, Zainab, how did you kind of
Use
hide the
broccoli
fact that you had broccoli in their foods.
I think what you do is, even if you're making like, I don't know, spicy rice and you put vegetables, you cut it into very small pieces, and you can make it as part of the pilau rice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when you add the meat and stuff, you put like just really small amounts of it, so you
Yeah.
kind of hide it in there. But one of our favorite dishes at home at the moment is broccoli pasta.
Oh, okay.
And what we do is, the way you make cheese and cauliflower bake. It's very similar to that. So you cook the broccoli on the stove. I'm going to put a bit of oil. So once it's like soft, you put flour in there and butter, and you kind of cook it with that. And once it's the butter's come to the top, what you do then is you add other things to it, and you boil the pasta as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So what you do is you put all that together, you put milk in it, and cheese at the top, and then you could put it in the oven to bake.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you kind of pre-cooked it anyway.
It's like a pasta bake with broccoli then.
Yeah, pasta bake with broccoli, and it's absolutely lovely. And you could vary it, because you could put peppers in there and sweet corn, which I do for my kids sometimes, and other times we'll add a bit of chicken as well. So it can, like I said to you, broccoli can be added to almost anything. And if the kids are not so keen on it, cut it into very, very small pieces until they acquire the taste for it.
Oh, okay, brilliant. And also, when you're talking about how you mask to the taste of broccoli for your children food, what I used to do was I used to blend broccoli and carrots, and because mine were quite fussy when they were younger.
Yeah, they're all kids, I suppose.
I used to blend it in a machine with the flour as well, so I'd make the dough out of it, and I'd make paratha with that.
Really?
Yeah, so that was a real winner with my children, and I was really pleased with the fact they started eating that as well, because they were really fussy. And so
I've
that's
never
another
tried
way.
that. I'll try that, I think.
You can do that for younger children.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. So another recipe that I've come across is roasted broccoli with tahini garlic sauce. So this is an Arab dish. And so basically you need to have garlic, one garlic clove, a bit of salt, and a third of sesame tahini, 2 to 4 tablespoons of lemon juice, and a cup of water. And then for the broccoli, you need to have the broccoli crowns, it says, and 2 tablespoons of oil.
Right.
And depending on taste, salt and pepper, depending on what the individual prefers.
Okay.
So in a pestle and mortar, you have to mash the garlic clove to puree and add some salt. So be generous with the salt, it stays here. Transfer it to a bowl and whisk in the sesame tahini. And then add in the lemon juice as well. So it's kind of like making a bit of a hummus paste as well, but using tahini and garlic only. Then wait till the mixture stiffens up because of the lemon. That will cause that to stiffen up. And then add in the water. And when this has turned into a bit of a sauce, you have to heat the oven up and put the broccoli onto a lined baking sheet and put the sauce all over the broccoli, and then put that into the oven on a low gas, it says here, so probably about 140 degrees, and let them cook.
Yeah, that sounds really nice.
So slow roasted tahini, broccoli, florets, yeah. So will probably be a winner as well for some dishes, a bit of a change from our regular dishes.
I think so. And not just around the world, they cook it very differently anyway. So it's good to pick up a particular food and try to see how different countries make it, how they include in their diet, and that could kind of give you inspiration to put it in your weekly dinners or lunches or things.
Yeah, it's a beneficial food.
Yeah.
Right, okay, we're just going to play a nasheed now, so it's to be happy. A motivational nasheed, it says by Uthman Al Ibrahim, and we'll come back to you after this.
كن سعيدا كن فريدا عش بفخر في الحياة لا تبالي فالمعالي بالتحدي لا سواه كن سعيدا كن فريدا عش بفخر في الحياة لا تبالي فالمعالي بالتحدي لا سواه بالتحدي لا سواه حرر النفس ولا تحيا هباء يا ربيعا أنت والعطر الرداء حرر النفس ولا تحيا هباء يا ربيعا أنت والعطر الرداء خذ قرارا وانطلق لا تنتظر ليس كل الناس أهل للعلاء خذ قرارا وانطلق لا تنتظر ليس كل الناس أهل للعلاء ليس كل الناس أهل للعلاء كن سعيدا كن فريدا عش بفخر في الحياة لا تبالي فالمعالي بالتحدي لا سواه كن سعيدا كن فريدا عش بفخر في الحياة لا تبالي فالمعالي بالتحدي لا سواه بالتحدي لا سواه ذلك الدهر الذي ترضى به هل يراك الكون من صناعه ذلك الدهر الذي ترضى به هل يراك الكون من صناعه ودع الأحلام يا فارسنا كن بهذا العصر من أعلامه ودع الأحلام يا فارسنا كن بهذا العصر من أعلامه كن بهذا العصر من أعلامه كن سعيدا كن فريدا عش بفخر في الحياة لا تبالي فالمعالي بالتحدي لا سواه كن سعيدا كن فريدا عش بفخر في الحياة لا تبالي فالمعالي بالتحدي لا سواه بالتحدي لا سواه إنما المشتاق للمجد التليد لن تراه مستكينا كالعبيد إنما المشتاق للمجد التليد لن تراه مستكينا كالعبيد إنه ليث البرايا ثابت يمتطي العز بعزم من حديد إنه ليث البرايا ثابت يمتطي العز بعزم من حديد يمتطي العز بعزم من حديد كن سعيدا كن فريدا عش بفخر في الحياة لا تبالي فالمعالي بالتحدي لا سواه كن سعيدا كن فريدا عش بفخر في الحياة لا تبالي فالمعالي بالتحدي لا سواه
And that was Be Happy by Uthman Al-Ibrahim. Right, so prior to that we were talking about the broccoli. Zainab, do you have any other recipes you might want to add to the recipe pages?
I think with the broccoli, like I mentioned, you could do the broccoli pasta. You could also like steam broccoli and just add it as like an addition to your other dishes. For example, if you're making a roast dinner, roast chicken, and you got potatoes, you could just do broccoli on the side as well, boiled broccoli. Or you could kind of put a bit of oil on it and kind of cook it in the oven.
Oh, like a slow roast again without the tahini and the garlic.
Yeah, but
then.
you gotta be really careful because I've done this so many times that it burns very quickly.
Oh, does
Yeah,
it?
and you want it to be, you kind of want to boil it first a little bit, make it a bit soft, and then put it in the oven because it takes a while to cook. And what happens is if you just put it in there raw, it'll just burn the top.
Oh, okay. So,
Yeah, so you gotta be
parboil
careful.
it then
Yeah.
beforehand. Okay, and you just mentioned there the broccoli, just plain boiled with the roast dinner. I absolutely love my English roast dinners.
Yeah.
Do your family as well?
Yeah, we do. I think what's up, it's easy, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can just bung everything in the oven, and sometimes you'll have like a hard day at work, or normally we do it on like a Sunday or Saturday, or sometimes in the evening when you think, oh, I can't be bothered to go and get, try and make a full curry with rice and everything else, and plus you get bored of it, don't you? So you want to try something new.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
we do it then. So we do the pasta bake, which is a lot easier, a lot. But you can actually put things in the oven.
Yeah.
And,
So do with your English dinners, do you kind of put a desi twist to it as well?
you do. You got to put your masala on there sometimes. Actually, no. Sometimes we're very bland, actually, because we try to kind of have the authentic taste of English
right,
dinner.
okay.
But then you have to add your bit of spice.
I was just about to say, Zainab, you're better than me if you have it bland. I can't do that.
I'm kind of used to that because the kids used to have it bland when they were younger. So we kind of picked up on that. So
Yeah.
we try to do that. And I've got a lot of European friends, and they kind of have a bland twist to their food.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And I think what we do is we kind of mask it with the chili too
I was
much.
about to say, this, we say bland, but for them it's flavoursome, isn't it?
Yeah,
They love that natural
yeah,
flavour.
I think I'm using the wrong word actually.
Yeah.
So I think with their food, because they use different flavors, you kind of if you taste their food and you eat it over a period of time, you begin to understand the different tastes, and you feel
You appreciate the natural flavors of food.
you do, because
Yeah.
what it is, I think we, like I said to you, we mask with chili a lot. And I know we've been brought up to eat chili and everything has to have chili, but you can't have foods without that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
The only way I think I mask it when I have my English foods as well, I put a bit of spice into my gravy.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah.
Actually, our gravy is quite bland.
Yeah, I have to add spice, even if it's like a bit of a chili sauce bottle. I'll put a bit of chili into the
Yeah.
gravy,
And
or from the marinade from the chicken that I've used, I'll pour that into the gravy as well. So I'll
Oh,
cook
do
it in the
you?
gravy.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
cook the gravy on the pan with that as well,
Yeah.
and that gives a nice flavour as well. But we have the boiled broccoli as well, definitely. So for the children, it
Yeah.
benefits
And
them.
I think not just the Asians, but like the wider community, they kind of experimented with the chili as well. So they kind of have incorporated into their dishes. I've seen some of the chefs use a lot of chili
They
compared
do.
to they did, I don't know, 20 years ago.
Definitely. I think
So-
Jamie Oliver's one of them. He loves his chili on his food. I've
Yeah.
noticed. Yeah. So, okay. So we're just going to look at now skills that graduate recruiters want. So when somebody's qualified from university, what skills are the graduate recruiters looking for? Because nowadays it's quite difficult. Even prior to the COVID situation, it's been difficult for graduates to come out of university and go straight into a job.
Yeah, and I think with what's happening at the moment with the COVID pandemic, it's even more harder than before, because a lot of interviews are being are done over I don't know, Zoom, or over the the internet, with Skyping and so on. And I don't, even though you can see the person, I don't think you get that feel for it while you're in the interview room. So you gotta kind of you have to even sell yourself even more. And the
Definitely.
skills the individuals are looking for, I think, is mainly within any job, is flexibility. The individuals want to see that how good you are as working as a team, because you're going to be with other
Yep,
people.
brilliant.
You're going to have different personalities in the workplace, and not everybody can get along. But then you're there for the same task.
That's right.
So
So-
you need to kind of put your differences aside,
Yeah, that's
and be
right.
able to work as part of a team and
Yeah,
come
so
together.
having the ability to manage a team as well,
Yeah.
and to be able to delegate to others and to take on the responsibility.
Yes.
So that's part of being part of a teamwork as well.
Yeah, and then
about building positive working relationships that help everyone to achieve the end goal
Exactly.
of the business objective. So
And
that's part of it
as
as well.
graduates, you've done all of those things in your degree or whatever course you've done. The only thing you need to, like I said before the break, is you need to sell yourself, and you need to demonstrate that you've got those skills. You may have them on paper, you've done them in the past, but you need to give examples of that.
That's right.
And then if you're able to give good examples of those skills, then you're more likely to get employed.
Definitely. So also what the recruiters are looking for is business acumen. So what do I mean by business acumen is being commercial aware. So this is about knowing how business or the industry that you want to go into works, and what makes the company tick. So what makes them want to hire you. Okay.
Yeah. I think
And
you
then
need, you need to understand the mission statement. You need to understand where they're about. And if you don't understand any of that, then you might as well not bother applying.
Yeah, definitely. And then you have to have the understanding, like Zainab just said, of the organisation. So what does the organisation that you want to, pursue a career in want to achieve through its products and services? And how does it compete in the marketplace? So that's also very important. All right. Another point was communication, Zainab.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's at all levels, isn't it?
Yeah.
Communication is really important. If you're a good communicator, you'll be able to, like we were talking about being articulate, you're going to be able to put your message across, or what you're trying across. You're going to be able to resolve problems. And a lot of jobs are about problem solving, about getting those orders in on time, communicating with partnerships, for example, or other agencies. And so it's really important to have good motivation and communication skills.
That's right, definitely. And the written communication skills are also as important, and listening skills as well. So again, it's coming back to being articulate again, so being clear, concise and focused, so that your message that you have to tailor for the audience of that company or the industry is listening, not just to what you're saying, but you're listening to what the company wants and what the people who are buying the products from them are saying about the products.
Yeah, and I like listening, incorporating in that, in everything that you do, because a lot of things we do is about listening and kind of implementing that. And if your listening skills are not so great, you're not going to get the job right, are you? You're not going to get the order right. You're not going to last in the the company for long. Because if you're constantly being told that you were supposed to do something else and you've done something else, you're not going to last with the company long. And there's many people out there who are willing to do your job. So
Totally. And
yeah.
also, I think there's a lot of people, some people are actually not a lot, I'll say, some people are quite fixed on the way that they're right is their way or no way as well. So it's about being flexible and taking on criticism as well.
Yeah, critical, in a positive criticism.
Yeah.
And again, like we talked about, it's being a team player. And it's very hard at times to be a team player if you've got like conflicting personalities within a team. But you've got to be focused on your end goal, and your end goal is you're there to do a job.
That's right.
To do or provide a service.
Yep.
And they're kind of focusing that as a team.
So that would come under negotiating and persuasion as well, from your aspect as well.
Yeah.
So you have to understand where the person's coming from. So you're getting both aspects of what an individual is saying, and you can obviously help them feel more positive about the situation and help them achieve what they want to achieve from the product that your company is selling. Also, what recruiters look for in graduates is that you're good at problem solving. So, problem solving, then what do you think that is?
Again, within any organization, you're going to come across issues that are not being dealt with, or things haven't worked out the way you wanted them to work out. So you're going to have to be able to think on your feet and be active in resolving that issue, so that it doesn't hinder the business, it doesn't hinder anything that's being done or service you're providing.
Yep.
So if you're good at problem solving, you're going to be somebody who people will approach. So if you're good at communicating with certain organizations and you've had a good rapport with them, more people will come back to you. But if you're not good at problem solving, then you're not going to last long. That's
right. And also, though, it's doing it in a logical stance as well. So doing it logically and an analytic approach as well. So depending on the industry you're in. So you have to look at it from that stance and be able to solve problems and resolve the issues. So that it shows that you can approach problems from different angles as well. So that's quite important. Yeah, another aspect is leadership. So obviously, when you go and you start off as you're in a new career, you start off not almost immediately at the management position or as the VP position. You start off mainly at the bottom, isn't it? You have to work yourself up. So Zainab, what do you think about that then?
I think with leadership, you can start at the bottom, but sometimes you might go into a job where it is for a leadership position, and you've applied for that position, and how do you go about it if you've got no skills? I think is practice again, and taking on volunteering with organizations so you acquire those leadership skills maybe, and going on courses, and also working your way up if you need to. If you could work your way up, is you understand what the organisation wants, because you've got the experience of staying there for a few years.
Yeah, so what you just said there, Zainab, was, hit the hammer on the nail. Going on courses, so pursuing, your continued professional development, because these will all help you to move up the ladder within your career field, okay? But you also, in your interview, so when you're first starting there, obviously you may not start in a leadership management position straight away, but you need to show the potential and the motivation that you want to do that as well, that you want to pursue and move up the ladder, and you don't just want to stay at the bottom. So when you show that as well, it shows dedication to the interviewers as well, and it shows them that you are able to delegate tasks and assign, certain problems that might be going on, and you're good at setting deadlines, and you're good at leading by example as well.
Yeah.
So that'd be quite beneficial. So now, organisation. So if you're coming in at a recruitment level from a graduate degree, is it important to be organised then? What do you think?
Definitely. I think that's key. If you're organised, you're able to do the tasks that have been set for you, or you're able to meet deadlines. You're able to get things done. And if you're not organised and you're all over the place, so it's not going to work out very well for you.
Definitely.
And then within all aspects of our life, you need a certain amount of organisation, don't you? Yeah,
it's definitely important. So it shows that you're able to work efficiently and productively, and you're able to manage your time well as well. So that's what you need to show in the interview. Have examples ready to talk about. If you've not worked before, if there's anything you're doing at university level within your degree where you had to manage a deadline for a project or a poster presentation, you can talk about how you fitted your time in around that. Or if you have worked, bring in examples from your work experience or your works from when you were studying as students. It's always good to be able to show the employers rather how you decide what is important to focus on and how you decided to get it done. So if it was a project at university, why did you put those limits in place for wanting to complete task 1 before task 2, for example? Okay.
Yeah.
And what we always talk about again, Zainab, is come back to that main point again, perseverance and motivation now.
We talk about a lot about that, and then like you just said about organising, I just want to add another point to that. You might have several, pending deadlines, and then you need to be able to prioritize that as well as part of being organised. You need to be able to prioritize your work, and once you've kind of mastered that, you kind of mastered your job and you mastered everything else around you, because if you're not able to prioritize, then you're going to miss deadlines.
That's a brilliant point you've picked up on there, Zainab. As a working person, there isn't just the one deadline that you have to meet.
You could have several at the same
time. Yep. So you have to show how you would manage those skills. Have you been in a situation like that?
Yes, I think I'm in that every day.
Yeah, so could you give an example, Zainab?
I think what it is within because we have like court deadlines to manage, and then I've got individuals coming out on license, so I've got licenses to prepare for the prison, and then I've got the police wanting information, or working with certain offenders, and then I've got the social services wanting information for child protection meetings. So you got like almost 20-30 things going on at the same time, and you're going to have to kind of prioritize according to risk, according to the importance, and sometimes they're all important, but then some have longer deadlines than others, so you're going to have to kind of manage your day. So you have to be really good at organizing, and I think we kind of learn as we go along. Sometimes you're not so good. Sometimes you have a bad day and things don't go according to plan, but just keep going.
But I think also when you're first starting out in a new career especially, it is quite difficult.
It is, definitely.
And it's about not giving up again and coming back to perseverance again.
Not just that, if you're not able to manage your deadlines and you feel like overwhelmed, being able to go to your manager and talking to them about it and say, you know what, maybe I need extra help, or
That's right.
I'm not able to. What I would say not to do is kind of think, I'm gonna be able to manage everything, and I'm not gonna ask for help. So don't be like afraid to ask for help.
That's it. Totally, it comes back to the fact.
Don't overwhelm yourself.
So it's showing that you are probably getting too overwhelmed by it, but you know how to control yourself in that situation. So it's about keeping calm in that situation, going to speak to your management level or whoever's mentoring you and discussing what's wrong so they can help you.
And being realistic is so important, because sometimes you think you could do 20 things, and you probably can do 20 things, but in that particular day you might not be able to achieve it. So you might miss an important deadline trying to looking at other stuff. So it's almost like looking at a mountain of things and think, I need to kind of overcome this and achieve this and get to the top. But then you might need to take smaller steps and side steps and get other people, rope other people in to get there.
That's right.
So don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be and be realistic about your goals and achievements.
Definitely. And I think even at our level and our years of experience within our own career field, Zainab, we sometimes do flumber as well. We need to have help, so we need to go and ask.
Yeah.
We will ask people to help us with this situation or this scenario. And I think it's always realising that as well.
Yeah, being realistic about what you can and can't achieve, because you need to have that life-work balance as well.
Definitely.
And if something is kind of taking you to the stress levels and you're gonna be sick on a long term, you don't want to go down that route, and is recognizing for yourself what you're capable of and what you can and can't achieve.
Yeah, before it does get too serious.
Yeah, before it gets too stressful, and then you end up being sick, or you end up not being in that job.
And mentally as well, that it kind of very downward spiral effect on an individual as well if they're not able to do that.
Yeah.
So another aspect that recruiters look for is confidence. So with confidence, then, what do you think they're looking for when they want an individual to be confident?
Yeah, I think before the Zahn break, we were talking about confidence a lot, and we mentioned that it's really important to come across confident in an interview or any important event you've got. And the reason that recruiters look for confidence is because they don't want to be holding your hand all the time. They want to see that the person they've employed is capable of doing the job. They can be left alone. They can self-manage. They're able to adapt to a different way of working.
That's right.
So the confidence is really important, and I think that comes across when you are being articulate and you're talking, in an interview or in a certain setting, or you're doing a presentation, for example, if you're able to explain yourself well, you've done your research, it will show.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, those are good valid points about being confident in a workplace. But also, what they don't want is, on the flip side of that, is an arrogant person. So even if you think you do know your stuff as well,
You don't want to be overly confident.
Exactly. If you come across arrogant, that's it. I
Yeah.
think a lot of workplaces aren't happy about working with people or colleagues in a company where they are coming across too arrogant.
Not just arrogance, but overly confident, and they're not getting things done.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so don't say what you can't do. Be realistic.
Yes, that's it. Ask for help when you need help. Those are the key points here as well, for definite. And so we're coming up to the end of the show now. Next week we're going to be looking at empowerment for British and ethnic minority groups, and we'll be looking at how we can do better in our careers.
And how we can help young people empower themselves within these groups, to get on the job ladder, to get on the best career that they can.
Yeah,
So
excellent.
please do stay tuned in
For
next week.
inshallah. Okay, then take care. Assalamu alaikum.